Hey, I think I'm live. This is going to be really short. I know it's a lot of live streams going on right now. So, hey, I think I'm live. I'm going to keep this short. Give me just a second, y'all. Hold up. This is going to be okay. Because I want to say something. And understand that this is coming from a good place. But at this particular point, I no longer feel like it's my responsibility. The way you receive something is not my responsibility, as long as I say it with good intention. Okay? One of the things we have to be mindful of when it comes to the protection of our spaces is the fact that a lot of times I see people make comments about some of the disagreements that occur between Black women. And one thing I've noticed is that a lot of those disagreements are fueled by two things. And I'm going to just keep it all the way raw with y'all. It's fueled by people outside of these spaces. And it's also fueled by the fact that a lot of times as Black women, we have a natural distrust for each other. So for some of us, as soon as we hear something negative about another Black woman, we take it and we run with it. Hey, Hyperfanatic. Hey, Kate Johnson. Hey, Carnisha. We take it and run with it. And we've seen it play out kind of on a large scale over the last few months. And when these things happen and when the dust settles, I'll see people say, well, one of the problems is the back and forth between the content creators. Let's also acknowledge that part of the problem is the people fueling the back and forth between the content creators. People in offline conversations or emails saying things to one content creator about another content creator. And then the way it's handled between the various parties involved. Now, if you see something or you observe something that is questionable, you have the right to question it. But what I'm saying is, we know, particularly those of you who have observed these spaces for a while, we know that there are some people who simply do not like the concept of divestment, the concept of BWE. They don't like it at all. They don't like it. They hate it. They want to see these messages not work. And so a lot of times what these people do is they use one Black woman or one group of Black women to attack another group of Black women. We know that that happens. We know it. That's why some of us are saying, we have to be careful about some of the women in these spaces who are pro-Black minded, even if they don't identify as pro-Black, but they believe in the concept of a Black community. People who feel that way are automatically not going to like these messages. We have heard Black men openly on their YouTube channels say that they use Black women to infiltrate spaces. And someone warning you about those things is not problematic. It's not a dig in particular at any content creator other than those who have openly said that they use Black women to infiltrate spaces. But some of you observe the disagreements. And I had someone say to me, well, part of the problem is the infighting, but who's fueling it? Let's be honest, who's fueling it? Now, don't be wrong, because we have a solid group of Black women in these spaces who know the deal, who know what's up. You all are vigilant, you're observant, and you don't just believe something just because you hear it about a person. But the thing I've noticed with YouTube, right, particularly in spaces where a lot of Black people are, the videos or the social media posts that are out there with people talking about dramatic situations, maybe calling people with brands negative names and accusing them of various things, those videos get way more views than the retraction videos that people have made over the years. So what happens is, once something negative is out there, and you pick up the message and you carry it around, that's what people hear. That's what people remember. And when everyone looks at it and says, oh my goodness, this wasn't right, this wasn't true, or, there were a group of men pushing certain narratives over the years and using women as their attack dogs, no one circulates that around. So all I'm saying is, for some of you, if you observe something being, if you observe disagreements, right? And you're the type of person who may not have a personal relationship with the content creator, but you're the type of person who will screenshot it and send it to them unsolicited. Or you're the type of person who's in everyone's different comment section, and depending on whose comment section you're in, that determines what you're saying, then understand that you are part of the reason that there can be some strife in these spaces. But also understand that from time to time, because we're all human, we are going to disagree. And no one looks at any other group of women, and no one looks at men when they disagree and says, oh, well, we could really have this or that if it wasn't for the drama, and if everyone could just get along, if we could just all hold hands and go skipping down to the park and eat cotton candy, on rainbow sky-filled days. No one has that expectation of anyone else. And what the people in those spaces do is they continue to support the overall message. Now, I'm sure there are people in those spaces who will be back and forth sending stuff to people too. But in those spaces, it's understood that part of that is just human nature. And people also will acknowledge, well, yeah, part of the reason that stuff kind of blew up to a certain point was because all the people fueling it back and forth. So I would just say, for all of us, that we have to recognize our own humanity and the humanity of other people, particularly the humanity of other Black women. And in understanding that means we're going to have flare-ups, we're going to have disagreements. But if you're observing something that you view as infighting, as opposed to thinking, well, maybe there's a reason for the disagreement, or maybe there is a reason that you have certain Black women in these spaces who have consistently said, hey, be careful about this or be careful about that. Just think, like, what benefit is it? You got to be on, listen, if you come to a channel and you don't see ads on that channel, it's not monetized. Okay? Many of the women in this space who have been issuing certain warnings do not have monetized channels. Like, we literally do this because we have certain beliefs. We're divested Black women, and we want to reach out to other divested Black women or to other Black women who would be interested in hearing the message. Even the Black women in these spaces who have brands or they have monetized channels, these messages are not popular enough for the channels to have like hundreds of thousands or millions of subscribers. These messages are probably not popular enough for the content creators to live off of whatever they make on YouTube or whatever they make from donations in the way that content creators in other spaces do. So it's not beneficial for anything other than wanting to reach out to other Black women. So if a Black woman's looking at you and telling you, well, you want to be careful about this, and we want to protect this and protect that, understand she's doing it. You don't have to agree. You don't have to agree with me or anyone else, but understand that she's not coming from a negative place. Also understand that channels like mine and my live stream channel, my YouTube channels will probably never be monetized. So my intent with this is not financial. I have a 9-to-5 job plus a home-based business that I operate with my husband, plus he has a 9-to-5 job, along with some charitable organizations that I'm involved in. So that is, those are the ways that I make money. So you guys have to understand that being in this space, being heavily observed in the ways that we are, we all have to do our part, is what I'm saying. Whether you're a content creator or you upload videos from time to time, or whether you are someone who supports the spaces, just understand it. Understand that there's a seriousness to this that I don't think a lot of people get. Because I know for a lot of people, this is just YouTube, but there are real life people behind each of our profiles. There are real life people who make decisions about their real lives, in part based on the messages that they hear on social media. Now, are you, as a content creator, are you responsible for that? No, but yes. Let me look at the chat. Oh, wow, you're in California. I can care less. I'm glad you're okay. I heard about the earthquakes. Yeah, I can care less. There does have to be... there does have to be some separation and certain distinctions made. There has to be. And I'm telling you guys right now, I'm keeping my mouth off of it, but the discontent that you're observing in certain male spaces on YouTube, all of that's going to blow over in a few weeks. That will all blow over in a few weeks. So don't be fooled. Don't think that... I'll put it to you like this. Even if they're disagreeing with each other, their fundamental beliefs about Black women have not changed. And so ultimately they will unite based on those beliefs about us. That's true, Ayo. Proax means protecting the Canes of any accountability of his own actions. Yep, Carnisha and Ayo, you guys are right. Hey, Hyperfanatic. We do have to be careful about people's intentions. See, one of the reasons that Black women are in the position that we're in is because we're too trusting. That doesn't mean you can't ever trust people, but in any situation, you always have to look at and be like, well, what if a person felt one way and that position has changed, you have to think to yourself, what has changed? And ladies, if it's a long time person that you supported in any space, not just DWE or divestment, because I know a lot of us watch a lot of different kind of channels, you know. But if you've observed a person in a space and you know that there are people gunning for that person, when you hear something about them that's negative, just do a little bit of research. You know what I'm saying? Just do a little bit of research, because I'm telling you, people have used Black women to attack other Black women, and it's not going to stop unless we're better at, listen, we have to kind of take, and I know this is kind of like a bad example, but it's the only one I can think of. We have to take the route of Donald Trump supporters. You notice how anytime someone says something about Donald Trump, those people ask for receipts. You know, they say, okay, you're saying about this about him, where's the proof? As Black women, particularly in a space that is heavily under surveillance, we have to start doing the same thing. You know, we have to start saying, okay, this is someone I've watched for, I don't know, 5 years, or this is a vlog channel that I've seen since YouTube started, 10 years ago, or however many years ago. So if someone is saying something about them, let me do a little research. Like, even if you think about the whole the blow up with the Ami McClure situation. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't support the husband's tweets. But what I'm saying is, we got to think about, like, what was the purpose of making that a national conversation, particularly when Black women are the subject of such hate speech on social media, and all of these different social media platforms allow it. What was the purpose of trying to make that the face of interracial relationships? What was the purpose of trying to dig up, like, whatever her situation was with her ex-husband? Why did that get so much attention? Were people really offended about the tweets, or were they using that situation to push a certain agenda? And it's the same thing with certain things that have happened in these spaces. Like, when things become to the point where you have, like, viral videos being made, or you have news publications making Facebook and other social media posts about, clips of people's videos in these spaces, you have to think, like, why do people try to make that a national conversation when the same thing does not happen when Black women are defamed? When we're told to brush it off, were people really that offended by that video clip, or was that being done to push a certain agenda? You have to think, why are there people who are so concerned about what goes on at certain events that they're sending Black women to infiltrate those spaces? What's the larger plan? What's the larger agenda? And you also have to think that if you've seen Black women be supportive of the men who have openly said that, then as far as Leah is concerned, those women have to be questioned too. Even if they are now taking a softer approach towards divested Black women or Black women in interracial relationships, they have to be questioned, and they have to be questioned Am I still live? Because my computer screen just did something. Let me make sure. Oh, yeah, I am. Okay. Those women have to be questioned. And I understand that sometimes that's going to mean questioning people that some of you in this space are cool with. Maybe you watch their content, because I know we watch things across YouTube. So you may receive information from a channel, even if that channel is one that has been pro-Black for years, or maybe they're not pro-Black, but they've made it very clear for a very long time that they're not supportive of these spaces. But it's like, I don't know, I feel like some of you, and it's not just the content creators, although it is some content creators doing it, but it's also some of you who support the spaces. It's like you guys are taking it personally because someone that you like is being questioned, instead of understanding that the reason that they're being questioned is A, because they have been very anti the women in these spaces for quite some time, but B, they have supported men who have said that they will use Black women to infiltrate these spaces. That doesn't mean that they're doing it, right? But I'm just saying it doesn't benefit any of us to have our guard down. They did, Kay Johnson. They used that to move their agenda. And the fact that listen, the fact that that was done in the way that it was done, and it was just a few months ago, all of that has to be questioned. And the timing of, listen, some of this shit I'm gonna just say in my Facebook group, but I have a timeline of the various ways that these spaces were targeted. None of it was a coincidence. None of it was a coincidence. You have various women in these spaces who were accused of doxing people and shit. You had women in these spaces who had like their video and shit going viral in a way that was made to, it was just done to try to make this space look a certain way. The Ami McClure situation was not that far before all of that shit. None of that was a coincidence. And I'm gonna tell you another reason. And see, this is where the Black women, if it's any Black woman who is allowing themselves to be used to target other Black women, you know, you got to understand the reason that they use Black women. I've been telling y'all this for months. These male spaces are probably trying to become more mainstream. And when you have a set of beliefs or a movement that's moving to the mainstream, hey, love him, hey, Sock. When you have a movement that's moving to the mainstream, you have to publicly separate yourself from things that are not popular. So if some of these male spaces are trying to find ways to market themselves to a larger audience in a way where they can be advertiser friendly and make money, right? Then they can't have their messages associated with the more extreme things that they kind of do, like infiltrating spaces. So they use Black women to do that, so that if it's exposed, it'll be a Black woman that's exposed doing it, and it won't reflect poorly on those male spaces. And it will give them more content. It will give them more reason to say, well, see, Black women can't get along because they infiltrate each other. You guys, this is a larger message. Like, it's a larger plan. I know it sounds crazy because a lot of us probably don't really understand how seriously people take these things. Yeah, Kay Johnson. I mean, I don't know. The concept of a sisterhood is cool. I don't know if it's realistic to expect that from any group of women. Although other women naturally do it, like they are less likely to betray each other in the ways that we as Black women do. But at this point, I'm not looking for a sisterhood because I don't listen. Generally speaking, from what I've observed, is that as Black people who are collective minded, it's very difficult for them to have friendships or even basic alliances with Black women that they don't share some core beliefs with. So that's part of the reason we can't, we can't have a sisterhood, because people kind of feel like if you feel certain things, they will find it so objectionable that instead of viewing it as a simple difference in opinion, they kind of distance themselves from you. And some Black women are not honest enough with each other to acknowledge that. So they'll come up with like another reason or whatever, but that'll be the basic thing. So that's why we can't really have a sisterhood. But what I'm saying is, like, if you're a Black woman and you are supportive of divested and BWE spaces, understand that some of the disagreements that you have observed have gotten to the place that they got to because of the way some of us are moving. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know for a fact, I can have a channel for like 5 or 10 years, right? And I know for a fact that if the right person made up some shit about me, I know pretty much exactly who among you would be the first to take it and run with it. I'm not talking about any of you in the chat or any of you that I usually talk to on here, like in the chats or in the comment sections. But like, I know who's who. And I know who tends to be the ones fueling the back and forth between the content creators. And it's just very unfortunate that even amongst us as a group of women who should be like-minded because we're all divested in BWE, I know that even amongst us, it's going to be very difficult to just have like a basic set of operating procedures. You know, I'm not asking for a sisterhood because honestly, I'm someone over the internet. You don't owe me that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all are all grown people, but all I'm saying is we got to get to this point where these people outside of these spaces will learn that they're not just going to be able to make up some shit and use it to cause problems. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not just going to be able to say, this person did this or that person did that and know that we're going to take it and run with it. And I also want to let you all know, because apparently there's some confusion. I want to let you all know that at this particular point, as far as I know, there's not any beef with anyone. To me, as grown people, we all have the right to our opinions. So, me having a difference in opinion about something, or me sharing a concern that perhaps other people don't agree with or they don't see, that's not a beef. And I'm not going to, I'll put it to you like this: I wouldn't be on here if I ever felt like I had to cut corners around what I was going to say to appease anyone else. Okay. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say what I have to say, but hopefully those of you observing that are mature enough to understand that that doesn't automatically equate to beef. Like I said at the beginning, I can't help the way that people receive things as long as my intentions are pure. But me having my opinion and sharing it is just that. Oh, I feel like I'm kind of rambling. That's true, AO. There will be no sisterhood because most Black people are against free thinking. And I feel like for some people, we seem to think that the only way we can have a sisterhood is if we all share the same opinion or we all like the same people. Do you understand? You don't even have to like other groups of women don't even have to like each other to just have some basic operating procedures. You know what I'm saying? To just have like a basic set of rules. But that's very true. It's like, that's why it's so difficult for Black people who aren't liberal minded to express those opinions to other Black people. And it's definitely a problem if you're a Black woman, because it's kind of like I said before, as Black women, we're so used to other people defining who we should be. And that's how we operate as a collective. And so any aberration from that means that other Black women will have a problem with you. If you don't speak a certain way, it's a problem. If you didn't come from a certain background or a certain part of the country, that's a problem. If you don't date a certain race of men, that's a problem for a lot of Black women. Like, it's just crazy. That's what I was saying before. Like, we can't have a sisterhood for those reasons. If you don't live the same type of lifestyle as another Black woman, a lot of times they'll have a problem relating to you because we don't relate to each other based on our status as Black women. I've observed that too, hyper fanatic. I mean, and I'm kind of like, I'm 50-50 on that. Because on the one hand, this is social media and people, I understand that people are going to feel like they should be able to go where they want to go. And I understand that it's always a sticky subject for people when they feel like they're being told what to do. All I'll say is this: other people observe that too. And so that's why people kind of feel like these spaces aren't as solid as they could be because they observe that. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me tell you something. You don't see people who are like MGTOW, right, on blue pill channels unless they're trolling or, arguing. You don't see pro-Black women on the channels of Black women who are divested and not in communication with pro-Blacks or Black men is on social media. You don't see that because that's just not how other people move. But because it's kind of like, because these spaces have been so welcoming for so long, I don't know. You know, people feel like they can do that, which, like I said, you can do it. You know, I don't know. I've never really put too much thought into how I feel about people who, you know, maybe they're in pro-black spaces and divested spaces. I don't know. I mean, I do think it's weird when people's opinions change based on the spaces that they're in. That's the thing that's weird to me. That's the type of stuff I observe. Hey, Jennifer. I don't think that black men look better than black women who take care of ourselves. I haven't personally observed that. I will say this though. I will say this. You have a lot of black women who, you know, like the bonnets and the pajamas and all of that shit. Like, we got to stop dressing that way in public. So I will agree with you there. They don't have bigger butts than black women unless they get those surgeries. See, a lot of white women and other non-black women now are getting those cosmetic procedures. They don't talk about it openly, but girl, it's nothing for them to get a little filler here, a Brazilian butt lift there, a breast lift. They even do like you have people who get jawline fillers and stuff. But I think that black women who take care of ourselves age beautifully. Look at people like Cicely Tyson, what's her name? Holly Robinson Pete. Shoot, Gabrielle Union is in her 40s. Halle Berry to me is aging very well. She's in her 50s. It's just so many. It's so many. What's her name? Tamron, the news lady. I can't think of her last name right now. Um, I think Taraji is aging well. She's a woman in her mid 40s, and it's a lot. Even if you think back in the days of people like Lena Horne and all of them, Eartha Kitt when she was still around. Remember when she guest starred on that show Living Single? She looked good. A lot of those women. Tina Turner still looks good. She's in her 80s. Patti LaBelle's looking good. I believe she's 70-ish. You know, I think we look well when we take care of ourselves. Oh, Tamara Hall. Thank you, Kay. Yeah, Chaz. Whenever they say black don't crack, they're always talking about black women. You said in Canada, black women are lonely. Oh no, you said your black male boyfriend hit you. I hope you called the cops and got like a protective order. I don't know much about the domestic violence laws in Canada, but I would hope that I would hope that there are laws in place to protect you. Hey, one-sided. Yeah, Ayo, we do age better without the stress that can come along with them. Hmm. I hope you're okay, Jennifer. I don't know much about the laws in Canada in terms of what you're able to do to protect yourself. Like if you're able, I know in some countries outside of the US, you can't really have certain types of weapons, but hopefully you're at least able to get like something non-lethal that would be able to protect you. Some mace, a stun gun. Yeah, I thought there was a lot of IR dating in Canada. I know one of my friends from Trinidad lives in Canada and she's engaged to a white guy. Yep, Chili still looks good. She's beautiful. She hasn't aged at all. Yep, Tatiana Ali. Very true. I mean, even like I think about women like Felicia Rashad and Debbie Allen and all of them, and for women in their age group, you know, you got to think they got to be knocking 170 if they're not already over 70. And for women in their age group, they look good. They're not all wrinkled up and dry looking. You know? Yeah, her actions are horrible, hyper fanatic. She's it doesn't seem that her outside matches her inner. I'll say it like that. You guys are funny. Yeah, are there I think there are a lot of like Hispanic people in Canada because a lot of them are opting to move places like Canada instead of coming to the US. Probably the same thing with Asians. Yeah. I remember Rachel True. She was on that TV show too where I cannot remember the girl that was playing her half sister. But yeah, she looks the same. She's in her 50s. I follow her on Instagram. That's what I'm saying. Black women of all complexions, we take care of ourselves. We look good into older age. And when I say older age, I mean way into older age. Because, like I said, look at Cicely Tyson. You know, half and half. That's what it was called. Divest from stress. Thank you. Yeah, she literally looks the same. Ayo, I have heard that there's a connection between the amount of melanin in your skin and how quickly you wrinkle. I don't know how true that is. I'm kind of wondering if that's the real reason that you have some white people who are taking, like some white women who are taking those melanin shots. I know they're doing it in part to help them with tanning, but I'm also wondering if they're using it as like an anti-aging thing. That's good, Jennifer. Stay that way until you're ready. That's good. It's good to be a virgin still. And 21 is young. You got your whole life ahead of you. Shaka Khan, yeah, she looks really good. And she's got to be up there, maybe high 60s, maybe a little older. She looks beautiful. One-sided loyalty. She is older than them. But see, that's why back in the day, remember you'd have like women like Stacey Dash playing in movies where they were teenagers, and then we all found out that she was like pushing 30. Like when that Clueless movie came out, she was fully grown. Hey, Leonard. I have seen that, AO. Like a lot of you ever seen like black women who have like very, very dark skin? Their skin looks so clear, like Ducky. the model Ducky, and also a Dude a Catch. And then from back in the day, Alec Weck. Like they're all very, very dark skinned, and their skin is like their skin looks like smooth dark chocolate. It's really pretty. Yep, Diana Ross looking good too. Same thing with Tina Turner, one-sided. You're right, Carnisha. I mean, like I said, like I don't even know. Like when it comes to people in internet conversations, I don't even know like if it's realistic to say like, oh, you have to view me or we have to view each other like we would our real life sisters or real life friends. But if we just had if we had basic respect for each other as Black women, there would never be a situation where we'd be making fun of another Black woman who's a victim of domestic violence. And it would never be a situation where people didn't understand why that's offensive, you know? And to me personally, this is just me, everyone's different. I would think at some point we would get to a place where it wouldn't be so easy for us to brush off each other's lives like that. You know, like I'm telling you, I have seen Black women in comments all over social media, not just YouTube, all over social media saying that they literally do not care about what happens to a Black woman unless she's with a Black man. I saw the way people reacted to Sasha Obama when she went to her prom. People were in the comments like, "Oh, well, at least she's not like her sister." I'm like, "Why? Why do you care? You know, the girl's going to Harvard or somewhere like that. She's at a place where there's just not going to be a lot of other Black people. And so most of the guys that she's going to meet in college are not going to be Black men." And see, people understand that argument when they excuse Black men for interracial dating. They'll say, oh, well, he went to college in Idaho or, you know, small town Kentucky or whatever. So there just weren't a lot of other Black women around. So we should be understanding of that. And it's like, well, okay, so why can't you be understanding when the opposite is true? And, you know, so you're right, Carnisha, we won't really have a sisterhood under those circumstances. I think Jennifer might be a troll. Let me look at something. Because I don't troll people, so I don't appreciate people doing that to me, okay? So, her sisters are beautiful. Yeah, Black love is dead. I had to delete your comment about Black women aren't attractive. That's simply not true. Like I said, Black women who take care of ourselves are very attractive. Hey, H girl. Her sisters are very pretty, AO. That's from stress. You said it's nice to just have a discussion. I mean, everyone feels differently about that. Yes, Viola Davis is in her 50s. I think she's an attractive lady. No wrinkles, smooth skin. You can tell she works out. Her skin is glowing. That means she's probably eating very healthy, drinking a lot of water. I think she's a very attractive woman. Iman, very beautiful. Yeah, Ayo, I think it's more about respect than an expectation that people have to like all the same people or have all the same opinions. That's simply not going to happen. Divest from stress. When it comes to discussions, my only thing with that is that everyone coming to the table doesn't have the same intentions, particularly when it comes to Black men who are supportive of certain spaces on social media. A lot of times they want public conversations as an opportunity to debunk instead of, you know, having productive dialogue. And productive dialogue doesn't mean you walk away from the conversation agreeing with each other, but it at least means that you have a mutual respect for each other. You guys have to understand there are Black women who have been in these spaces for some time, and in the past they did attempt to have those conversations and it never went well. They had video after video after video after video made about them, because what people would do is, say they would have a conversation, people would then chop up the videos and use that as content to try to speak against these messages. And so that's all I'm saying. Like, sometimes people are having discussions just for genuine dialogue. And so I think there's room for that. But when you know, like when people have openly said, like this is the thing that I don't get. When people openly say, well, this is my intention and this is what I want to do. It's kind of like, you know, we should believe them when they say that. That's just my opinion, though. Beverly Johnson is very pretty. Really one-sided. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's so ingrained in a lot of Black women to be protective over Black men that you can't talk that out of people. There's no conversation that's going to make a person think differently. They just have to see it on our own. They have to see it on their own. You know, when a lot of us have said before that it's just naturally in Black women to see their fathers, sons, husbands, boyfriends, nephews, male cousins. When I say that it's just ingrained in a lot of Black women to see the Black men that they know in every Black man, that's true. And that's where that comes from. And a lot of Black women don't even realize that that's what they're doing. So when you see those Black women say, well, you know, if you say things about Black men, I get offended by that, it's because in their minds, even if you take statistical data to support what you're saying, they're going to assume that you're talking about their father, their son, their whoever. And so it's just kind of like, there's no talking people out of that. There's no discussion that you can have that can change that mindset. People just have to do it over time. I mean, that's true, Chaz. Like, there are unattractive Black men. And other groups of men understand that some of them are going to be viewed as attractive, some of them are going to be viewed as unattractive. But amongst Black people, that's just such a taboo thing to say about Black men. Because again, when you say that, people assume that you're calling their Black nephew ugly, their Black cousin ugly. And it's like, no. Right, tonight. That's what I was saying, Hyperfanatic. I think she's a troll. Naomi Campbell is very beautiful. Oh, thanks, Kay Johnson. I think I just deleted the messages. Yep, yep, Carnisha, they're all beautiful. Naomi, Tyra, and Yaya. Tika Sumter is very pretty. Her features are beautiful. Yep, Chaz. We simply just have to treat them how they treat us. And if black women could operate under a simple code of, okay, I treat people the way that they treat me, then it wouldn't be so difficult for other black women who are not divested to understand why we feel the way that we feel without being offended. Because as a group of women, we all have to deal with the same stereotypes. And we are all negatively impacted by the fact that you have black men pushing those stereotypes. It also hurts us that a lot of black women support those stereotypes. So it doesn't benefit any of us to ignore that. Okay, divest from stress. Oh, wow. One-sided, you said a black woman said her mother or aunt said she'd rather see her get her ass beat than date a white man and be treated nice. Wow. Yep, Chaz, they see all of them as their sons and they see all black women as their mothers. Yep. Nope, I see that she's been hidden. She's been hidden, Kay, and always successful. Who's this person? Ciao. Okay. Oh, that's cool. You said you follow this dark-skinned IG model from an island called Caracal. All the non-black men are in her comment section praising her beauty. That's awesome. She travels all over the world living her best life. See, that's what's up. You know, and that's what beautiful single women should do, black women. You should be traveling, living your life, or doing what you want to do. If you want to establish your career, whatever you want to do, like, you know. That's crazy one-sided. Her aunt said she'd rather see her get her ass beat by a black man than be with the white man who treats her better. That's crazy. But you know what? I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. But that's what I'm saying, you guys. Like, what we're dealing with is much bigger than I think a lot of people understand. It's bigger than what a lot of black women understand. We're literally the bread and butter of blackness. There's so many people. There are so many people building their self-esteems off of black women. Listen, I told y'all in a previous upload, black men need to believe that the majority of black women want them. And divested and BWE spaces counter that belief. And that's part of the reason that they're so triggered by these spaces. Just like non-black women need to believe that they are more wanted and more desired than black women are. I told y'all before, that's why Khloe Kardashian is having a fit over the Jordyn Woods situation. And she really be in her feelings if Jordyn Woods were brown or dark skinned. Because white women and other non-black women need to believe that they're more desired than we are. Why do you think that people keep promoting all of these studies? from online dating services that say that Black women are the least desired. But when no one tells you in those studies is, they never say, okay, well, how many men were sampled? What part of the country are the world are those men from? What's the age range of those men? Did factors like those things and maybe their income and whether or not they're educated determine how the men responded? They don't tell you any of those things. And that's information that you would typically get when you get the results of a survey. So even like, if you look up certain stuff from the CDC or the FBI, there's usually a tab somewhere or a link somewhere on that page where you can, I don't know exactly what it's called, right? But where you can get that information, so you could see, okay, well, do certain things or certain responses change based on certain factors? They never tell you those things, but they make sure to put out the information that suggests that we're not wanted. Why does there have to be a national conversation about an online survey? Think about it. That national conversation is there to say to non-Black women and Black men, sure, they're still at the bottom. You're still the prize. That's why they put that out there. Yeah, without the surgeries, Chloe was she's not as pretty as her other sisters. Yep, always succeeding. Everyone's ego is based on them being seen as better than we are. One-sided, yep. You're right. That's why she calls them pedophiles. And she's right about that. See, Chaz, you said the studies also say Black women are more desired than Black men. But that's never brought up. And of course we're more desired. Look at the things we're doing in terms of education and entrepreneurship. Listen, when you start having mass numbers of people trying to attack an entire collective, there's a reason. They want us to all be seen as bonnet-wearing LaQuishas who only wear pajamas in public. And that image is being promoted for a reason. But they know that's not true. So you got to think, how is it true that we're the least desired when it comes to online dating, but we're more desirable than Black men? One of those things has to not be true. And I'm thinking that the thing that's true is that we're more desired, because that's the thing that people try to hide. One-sided loyalty, she sure didn't, and she didn't dedicate two of their episodes to talk about those non-Black women. She's offended by the fact that he was attracted by Jordan because she's part Black. See, some of these white women and other non-Black women who date Black men, the reason they're so nasty to us is because they need to believe that they're better. It shakes them to their core to realize that they're not, to realize that they'll get cheated on and abused and all that other shit, just to realize they're not going to be treated differently. I'm telling you. Yep, that's true, Ayo. A Black woman can get any man as long as we have personality and take care of our appearance. Yep, one-sided. That's why they're so offended about Ariel. They're offended. They're offended by that young lady. She's not a little girl anymore. I think Hallie is grown now. From Chloe and Hallie, that's going to be playing Ariel. They're offended by that because Ariel and a lot of those other characters, right? They're always portrayed as very beautiful. And there's a reason why at one point all of those images were white and why they get so offended when those images are a Black woman. I'm going to tell you guys something. There will be a time in media promotion where Black women will be the standard of beauty. Look at a lot of the commercials you're seeing. Look at a lot of the print ads that you're seeing. You're starting to see Black women of more of a shade range. You're starting to see us be promoted and marketing, and that's why whenever you see us in these movie roles, they get offended. Yep, Hyperfanatic, they rely on a survey from OkCupid as scientific data, but are completely dismissive of the data that's in the FBI crime statistics, but use an OkCupid survey to try to make fun of Black women. That's true, always succeeding. They never bring up that 92% out of wedlock birth rate for their children with non-Black women. That's true, Chaz. Women will always have more opportunities as long as we're open to them. Yep, Ao, that's very true. If a non-Black man has something going for himself, then when he dates outside of his race, whether it's a Black woman, Asian woman, whatever, it's always a top-notch woman. Whether it's looks or what she brings to the table, you know, other groups of men are really good at finding women that they are like-minded with. Even if you think about a guy like Bill Gates, right? Bill Gates is a billionaire. He probably could have had, who the hell is this? Okay, if you look at Bill Gates, he's a billionaire. He could have married any woman he wanted to. But if you've seen his wife and you're aware of her accomplishments, I mean, obviously she's not a billionaire like him, I don't think. But he did a good job at finding a woman that he was compatible with, that he could be with long term. Same thing with guys like Robert De Niro. I think his wife is a nice looking woman, especially given her age range. But he didn't, leave her and get a 20-year-old model. He's been with her all these years, and notice it's taken them a long time to get divorced, so maybe they're going to work it out. But it's like he found a woman, his wife is very accomplished, and that's why they've been able to be together so long. I mean, like I said, I know they're going through a divorce, but that's after 30 years of marriage. Some of these people now will never get married. So, for them to make it 30 years is a big accomplishment. So when you're dealing with other races of men, see, this is why it's so crazy to me when people try to act like, Black women are so unattractive that we can't get other races of men. Now, don't get me wrong. If you want a quality man, you got to be able to get his attention. And getting his attention is going to mean you got to be in shape and all of that stuff. But you want to do that for your health anyway, right? But I'm just saying, these people who say certain things, I don't think that they understand that other races of men date very differently than Black men. Particularly if they're a man of means, their expectations aren't as shallow, right? Because if they're going to get married, they want the marriage to work. because it's not beneficial for them to go through a divorce and they have money and all this other stuff. So those guys, they're going to like the combination that comes with more and more of us as Black women. You know, they're going to like the looks factor. You know, let's not lie. Attraction is a thing, but they're not going to be the guys making fun of you because you have a degree or because you started a business. You see what I'm saying? They're going to appreciate those accomplishments because they're looking for a woman that's accomplished. Think about it. Look at a guy like George Clooney. All that money he has, I would call him a silver fox. You know, he's an attractive older man. Yes, now his wife, Amal, she's a little bit younger than him. She might be 10 or 12 years younger than him. But she's not just arm candy. She's an international attorney. So he made sure he found someone, you know, that kind of rolled in the same circles as him, is used to being around people with money, you know, got some money herself. Do you know what I'm saying? They're a lot more responsible in how they date and marry. That's why you don't see, you know, rich white men complaining about their divorces. Even when they do get divorced, you don't see them complaining that much. And those relationships, even if they end, tend to end more amicably because you're dealing with two people who have something to lose if things go haywire. You see what I'm saying? Yep, Chaz, they have to repeat the negative messages so that we believe it. Hyperfanatic, yeah. Because, you know, a lot of the Latinos that make horrible comments, those are the white Latinos, you know? Hey, Nada, I saved the cat. Hey, Alita. Yeah, I don't know why so many trolls with I must have a lot of trolls subscribed. That's true, Chaz. One of the 48 laws of power is to disdain the things you cannot have, and Black men have mastered that. Yep. Yep, one-sided. Plenty of videos countering the narrative that other races of men don't want Black women. Love you too, Alita. Hope you have a good day. Telling you guys, just start to think about why it's so important for people to put out certain messages about Black women. And some of the same people putting out those messages are going to be the people who don't like these spaces. They're going to try to fuel controversy in these spaces. And we just have to not buy into it. We're allowed to have our own disagreements because we're all in the space, and that's going to happen. But if you start seeing people outside of this space, people who have made it clear that they do not support divested Black women, they don't support Black women in BWE spaces. When you see those people fueling disagreements between the Black women in these spaces, you have to understand that it's part of a larger agenda. Yeah, Black men, they were upset about Ariel, Chaz. They were upset about that Ancestry.com commercial. I'm like, they kept acting like we were the ones who were always in our feelings, but we see that that's not the case. It's actually kind of funny to me that they're so triggered after spending all these years dragging us. Like, do you understand that they get triggered simply by us being promoted and uplifted? We were complaining and legitimately concerned about the fact that our image as Black women was specifically being targeted. And we were expected to ignore that. But anything that shows Black women either in a positive light or in a light that doesn't fit their narrative, it's a problem. Now you guys gotta understand that Ancestry.com commercial was for, I think it was going to be shown in Canada, and you did have a number of Black people who escaped from slavery in the United States and moved to Canada. So you're going to have a number of Black Canadians where that particular story is going to be true for them. Maybe Ancestry.com should have thought about, the way it would have looked to the public. But I also don't think that people should have gotten as offended by that as they did. I'll put it to you this way. If they ever decided to make movies about some of the accounts from Black men about their sexual relationships with white women on the plantation, Black men would have no problem with those movies being shown. Right? They'd have no problem with it at all. Yeah, Chaz, they do get triggered anytime that Black women are praised. See, and that's the thing. Us simply being promoted in a positive way is viewed as an insult to Black men. It's the weirdest thing. But see, that ties back into what we were saying earlier. Not only is their self-esteem boosted by thinking that all Black women want them, but they get some sort of a rush by seeing us be bashed and oppressed. They really do. It does something for them mentally. That's a good point, one-sided loyalty. The author is Marriage for White People said if Black women explore their options, Black males won't have the ego mindset and they won't be able to keep Black women that keep telling us that no one wants us. Because see, what the collective of Black women is basically doing is acting like we're in a collective relationship with Black men. And we keep saying, oh, I can leave you if I want. That's like you having a man and saying, oh yeah, John Doe on my job, he keeps asking me out for lunch, and if you don't act right, I'm going to go. I'm going to leave you for John Doe. But once you say that a few times and you never leave, you're not taken seriously. And that's the same thing that's happening with Black women overall. You have Black women saying, oh yeah, I could get a man from a different group, and other groups of men love Black women, but we're just not going to pursue it. So when you make it clear to people that you're not going anywhere, they're not going to value you. Yeah, hyper fanatic. They can be very racist. Oh, Chaz, that commercial was based on a real story. See, that's cool. And see, even Beyonce was saying, I think back in the day when she was doing commercials for L'Oreal, she told her family story on her mother's side, and she said she had a great grandmother or whatever who was a dark-skinned Black woman. They showed her picture too. She was a dark-skinned Black woman. Of course, it was like whatever they were taking pictures with back then. I don't know what they call them. I don't know. I forget the name of like those old school cameras, but it was like her great whatever grandmother and a white guy who was a slave owner had fallen in love with each other. I think it was either during slavery or immediately after slavery. They fall in love with each other and they got married. And she showed her whole line of women from that particular woman, down to her. And so that was her story. And that happened a lot because, on her mother's side, I think she's from Texas or Louisiana. And so in parts of the country, things like that did happen. And then, like I said, it happened in Canada too. It's quite possible that maybe it happened in Mexico because you did have people who fled slavery in the US and they moved down to Mexico. So, I don't understand why that story was so uncomfortable for Black men. Yeah, one-sided. I remember that. But then they tried to say that they didn't actually pay him. You said Chaz and all the other countries where there were slaves, the Black women, yep, they did sometimes marry white men, but Black men don't like that because they have to drag us or lose us. Now, of course, some of the women may have done it for different reasons. I mean, let's be honest. That was a very sure way to secure your freedom and maybe try to bargain for freedom of your other family members, and then to make sure that your children would have their freedom. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't all of those stories weren't based on love, but some of them probably were. Some of them were. And like I said, people completely ignore the fact that you have literal accounts of Black men immediately after slavery talking about how they were sexually exploited by white women on the plantation. Hey, Hecate. Yep, that's true. You said you think it's a coincidence that they made a hideous movie with the brown girl and a guy who played the main character in Get Out. That's very true. Yep, Ayo, they're afraid that we're going to stop supporting them. That's very true, Chaz. You said men don't value loyalty. Mm-hmm. And they will like the women, yep, that others find attractive. That's very true. Yep, one-sided. You said that's why OWN is pushing a Black love narrative. And it's unfortunate that you have a lot of Black women who will not say, okay, if you love Black women, then why aren't you marrying Black women and providing committed, stable, solid families for those women? Love is not spoken. Love is an action. Love should be emotion. You shouldn't just hear someone telling you that they love you. You should see it. Always succeeding. You said there's a video on YouTube where Asian men were saying how Black women are beautiful. What? And there were Black mammies in the comments saying we don't need their praise. Wow. See? Like, why would we reject positive promotion? Like, what is offensive about an Asian guy saying that he finds Black women beautiful? Even for Black women who do not want to interracially date, why would they be offended by the positive promotion of men saying that they find Black women beautiful, regardless of those men's race? Yeah, hyperfanatic. They also were triggered by that advertisement. Wow. One-sided, you said they actually paid him, and he said he has 10K more coming in. Wow. And he would take her out with it. Wow. That's crazy. Yep, a lot of Black women will fall for it. You have a lot of Black women that would never ask these guys, okay, if you're saying you believe in Black love and you love Black women, are you with a Black woman? Are you married to that Black woman? If not, do you have the intentions to marry her and be a good, faithful, providing husband for her? If not, then we don't believe you. Chaz, you said CK did a video on it. You think it was a judge who fell in love with a black woman. They could not get legally married, but he made sure the lady and their children were taken care of after his death. That's cool. And see, I've heard people say that happened. That happened more than people realize. You know? Not I, said the cat. The only way to conquer their hypocrisy is to pay them dust. No support at all in business. Divest, invest, and protect. Only invest in your own selves. Unity as black women. That's very true, not I. That's very true. Yep, one-sided. It's only promoted for black women. Chaz, you said even after slavery, they married frequently. If you live in a poor country, you don't have the luxury to choose men who don't have resources. It's life or death. That's very true. That's true, Joseph Park. She said people always get love confused with attraction. Love transcends and uplifts those who are in it. Very, very true. One-sided said, mammies are so pathetic. Their ashy ass kings ain't gonna do it. Yeah, Ayo. It's unfortunate, but a lot of black women are too brainwashed and they won't be saved. You know, I didn't realize it until maybe the last year or so, how deeply ingrained it is in a lot of us to work against our own best interest. Yep, one-sided. They'll say that the white man won't let them marry black women, or what they start saying in some spaces is they'll say, well, marriage is a white man's construct, and so if you want marriage, then you're supporting white supremacy. And it's like, no, the concept of people partnering with each other in lifelong unions has existed in like nearly all societies. All societies have different ways of ceremonially getting married. You know, the ceremonies are different, but the concept of people coming together and forming those unions, you know, has existed as far back as human history goes, as far as we know, you know. Hikate, you said, does anyone recall watching a video, dear black women, white men, and Asian men don't want you? Oh, by an Ethiopian woman? And I don't remember that. I don't remember that, but I wouldn't be surprised. And that's crazy because she's from a part of the world where a lot of the women do IR date. Because they have, because of their location and how much people can move around and travel, they have access to quite a few different ethnicities of men. Hey, Patricia. That's a good point, hyperfanatic. When you think about the Dominican Republic. Yep, and Brazil. Yeah, Ayo, we have to focus on the future generations of black women and girls. Carnicia. The same for Puerto Rico, too. It's very mixed ancestry. Yep. Hey, John. Chad said the pretty black women are not allowing black men to use them for their resources and live with them. This was said on a popular YouTuber's live stream a few days ago. That's why they get online and talk shit. Yep. Because they know that the women, the black women who have the opportunities to date out would be the black women that they typically would be able to have access to without offering them the protection and the stability of marriage. And that's what they don't want. They want access to top tier black women without offering anything tangible. Not I, said the cat, said many black women will go down with the ship. This society has moved into the haves or the have-nots. Yep. It's all about money. Many black men will not build a financial future. Yep. That's very true. You know, the day will come when there will not really be a middle class. And when that day comes, a lot of black women are going to be in trouble. Hecate said she deleted her account and the video was saved. Oh, wow. That's unfortunate, but women like that cannot be saved. Anyway, ladies, I gotta run. I gotta go get my nails done. I have one that broke off and it's irritating me, so I'm gonna go get that fixed. But I will talk to you all soon. I hope you all have enjoyed the holiday weekend. I hope you enjoyed the 4th and spent it with your family, your friends. And I hope you're enjoying the weekend. And I will talk to you all really soon. I have a live stream scheduled tomorrow on my other channel. I think I have it for 4 or 5 o'clock Eastern time. So I hope to see you all then. Please make sure you like the video on your way out. Make sure you're subscribed. If you're subscribed, please hit the notification bell. And I will talk to you all soon. Hey, Art of Treasury. You're right. Black women raise a certain standard for other races of women when it comes to their men. And that's why they don't like to see black women date out. That's very, very true. All right, ladies. I'll see you guys on my next live stream. Bye.